has a bright light inside of them that deserves to be seen by the world. That's why it's time to shine the light on the extraordinary who are accomplishing phenomenal things. This is the Shine Out Loud Show with Lillian Ogbogo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever in the world you are. This is me, Lillian Ogbogo, with another episode of the Shine Out Loud Show. In fact, this is the start of our third season. So thank you all for being here and joining us. We are at our new home at Kata Kata in Brixton Hill. Please let me say it like our ancestors, Kata Kata. Brixton Hill, who are our venue partners. Tonight we have a really exceptional show because we're going to be talking about money, black finance, black entrepreneurship, and flash mobs, or should that be money mobs, with the incredible Paul Muhammed. Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I know people are going to be like, it's 24 minutes in. Where have you guys been? If we told them, they won't believe us. They just wouldn't. So we'll just say we've been abducted by aliens on our way in, and stuff happened and more stuff happened. But we're here now, and we are going to have this incredible conversation, and I'm looking forward to it. So for those of you who don't know Paul Muhammed is classed as a serial entrepreneur. This man has been in business in various businesses for the last 25 years. And he is also not just a business owner and a founder of the Money Mob, as we said. He is also a radio show host himself. So I'm being inspected here, where I'm I have to be on my best behavior. So guys, it's going to be a fun show. Join us in as we get into it. So Paul, how you doing?
I'm fine. Lillian.
We are kind of, it's funny, Paul and I are kindred spirits because we don't do cold, and winter is not our friend.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, I'm already planning my trip abroad already.
Where you going?
Barbados.
Can I come too? Because this cold is not the way forward.
I am telling you, I do not do cold well. Trust me.
Listen, we both here are mainlining our ginger and mint tea, courtesy of our incredible new partners here, and we are going to get stuck in. So before we, sidetrack and talk about ginger tea and Barbados and sitting in the sun, let's talk about business. So, like we said, you're a serial entrepreneur. You've been in business for over 25 years. How old were you when you realized that you wanted to create a business?
Oh my goodness. I was about, I would say about 19, 20. Yeah, so around that kind of time. At that time, I was studying to be an architect. And I had started doing I actually started a design build business because my dad was a builder.
Okay.
And he wanted me to be he wanted me to be an architect, so we wanted to do like a design and build kind of business. So we kind of started off. We did our first kind of building, and but working with my father was how can I put this? Challenging.
I think working with family can be slightly challenging.
Exactly. So we kind of put that a little bit on pause until I actually met a few chaps that I was kind of studying with, and we kind of put together like a design and build team, and that kind of went on for a little while, and until I met a few other people, and then we did a little bit of design and building work there. We had a business where we were like buying property and renting, and I would do the design and fixing up and stuff like that. But I kind of wear several heads, so I was into. I also studied fashion, and had a time when I was at Chelsea.
Wait. Okay, let's stop. You studied fashion.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes. Right.
So your fashion building. How do you go from architecture to fashion or fashion to architecture?
As I said, I took a bit of a gap year because I wanted to be a designer. I wanted to be in architecture, but I don't know. It just did not kind of grab me in the way that I wanted to. I wanted it to grab me, and I'd always been someone who was into style or fashion per se, and a lot of the people that I was was around at that time were pretty young things who was into design. So I had kind of moved in that kind of.
So basically, you were inspired by the pretty young things.
Art in itself is inspiration. That's my excuse.
Okay, fair enough. So you went from that until the age of 19 saying, you know what, going into business is where you're going. Why do you think that, for us, our youths are not exactly understanding that business needs time and investment? Because we're talking 25 years of your career in different businesses. And you've gone from business to business and done different things and grown business, different things. Why do you think that is a point now that we're at where people are not making the investment in themselves or their business?
I just think that it's funny because I was speaking to a lady this evening who has an entrepreneur business, and one of the things that was the common denominator was the fact that when she was growing up, her mother was an entrepreneur. So for her, it was just a natural kind of progression. Just like if daddy's a plumber, more than likely I am. And it's the same with myself. I grew up. My dad was self-employed. He had his own business. So for me, it was just a natural progression. We never knew anything different.
Right.
You see. So I think that's probably one of the point. But also, especially in the UK. Because of a 2 to 3 tier system, you have people who are already programmed to actually work for someone else. From the beginning of their school life, to the end, and then you have another tier who is actually being trained to rule those who are working for them. It's as simple as that.
Well, we're not naming names. We're not calling people out here, but we're actually talking about self-responsibility, and which is one of the things that you do with Money Mob is about. You're not saying what people are not doing. You're actually saying how can we grow businesses.
Precisely.
So tell us about Money Mob.
All right. Well, Money Mob in itself is in essence, Money Mob is a buy black crowdfunding, crowd purchase movement. We use the areas that that if we come together, we can then build. So it's very much about group economics. So we literally look to support, target, promote businesses, but more than that, our unique selling point is the fact that we literally take our finance directly to a business. You see, and that's how we're looking, because I think that. And I would say this, quite clearly. Working together is going to be the only way that we're really going to, build a proper, viable economy. It isn't going to be, the wealthy one over here or the pockets over there. It's going to take a collective effort, and I think that's is going to be essential. One of the things that is very, very, and I think that this is something maybe your listeners, if they don't, they will, and appreciate, is this. We number, probably about 3 million people in the UK, right? But the UK, and this is statistics have said that we are worth something in the region of £300 billion to the UK economy. So,
wow.
So that's...
No, Paul, wait.
All right.
No.
Yeah, that's right. I think you need to resonate. That's right, exactly.
Let's not be in a hurry to skip over that number. Let's go back to that number.
Yeah.
How much? We're what? How
£300 billion.
300 billion pounds. Okay, people, we are worth 300 billion pounds, and yet we are spending willy-nilly. So I'm 300 billion.
300 billion.
Okay. We'll put a pin in that number and come back to it.
All right, okay.
So yes, you were saying.
Yes, so it means that it means that we are worth that to the economy, right? I'll give you another figure. Our disposable income in the UK is something in the region of £30 billion, right? That's our disposable income.
How much again, please?
30 billion pounds.
So we are worth 300 billion, and our disposable income is worth 30 billion.
30 billion.
So what is going on?
And this is the point, it's simple economics, right? We have a disposable income of 30 billion. We only spend 2% of that within our community, you see. And because of that, we then don't have a real growth. We have negligible growth in regards to our economy. Now, what from the statistics what we have found is that if we spent even 10% of our disposable income in our own community, that would almost create in the region of something like 50,000 jobs. You see, so we have it within our community to actually really heal the ills that may afflict us as a community. You see.
Now this is very important because one of the things that you're dealing with the money mob is actually saying each person spend within a business at a certain point, at a certain time, and a certain business, and it's really taking on the concept of a flash mob. And this is really incredible because when we think about it, you're saying this time group of people, that's the business.
That's correct. That's right.
What inspired this? Apart from all those big figures that you just thrown out, what inspired you to go for the flash mob route?
Listen, I felt that as I said earlier, I felt that we need to use group economics to actually then fund our economy. But I think the key point was, or if you're saying like the key moment where I knew we had to do something, I was moved to do something, was a very simple. It was a simple post that was done. I saw it about 18 months ago, almost 2 years ago. Okay. Where it was a post where a young lady, she had a hair shop in Lewisham, and I tell this story all the time. She has a hair shop in Lewisham. A customer comes in. Mm-hmm. The customer asks her for a product that she did not have. Right. So the lady said, well, look, go on the high street, you should be able to actually get that particular product. And the lady left by. A few weeks later, the lady came back to say, you know what, I actually found the product, thank you very, very, very much. By the way, when I went into the shop, I asked for the product and said, the lady over there, she sent to me, and to look for the product. Right. All right. The chap said to her, you know what, anything that lady can give you, we can give to you 10% more. You know what, in fact, some of us are looking to get rid of her off the high street.
That's just rude.
And I think it's rude, impertinent, and, to use a Jamaican colloquialism, you're damn feisty.
Listen, Paul, I think that's beyond feisty. Well, they just went beyond feisty.
Exactly.
They need a clap.
And this is the point. So I said to myself, you imagine, right? So this is someone who's trying to serve her own community. You have other people, and I said, they're serving. It's not a community that is theirs, but you now looking to chase someone who's actually working within their own community. You want to chase her out? And that was the first thing that really incensed me. The second thing is the fact that you can come together as a group with a plan to now drive her out of business. So I felt that it was incumbent on me to then now, put a group together, because without being political, I think business is war. I think that you have to get the troops out to actually come out and then support, your own economies, like other people support theirs.
Right. No, I actually absolutely agree with that.
You see. So that's the thing that kind of came to mind, and as I said, I watched I watched another a webcast that I saw done in America, and it really inspired, and I just felt, okay, things are just conspiring to now come together, and it was for me to make a decision. I spoke to a couple of my friends, and they said, you know what, Paul, whatever you do, we're going to be with you. And thus the Money Mob was born. Awesome.
That's absolutely awesome. I mean, I hope that woman still has her business in motion.
That woman not only has her business, she's now expanded. She has another shop in Peckham.
Okay, good.
And now she just launched her salon part of that business, because she's a beauty and hair supplier. Mm-hmm. She's now established a salon on the first floor. So yeah, nice. She's moving from strength to strength.
I like that. Oh, damn feisty ass people.
Absolutely. Absolutely out of order.
Yeah, we have a lot to go through, and one of the things I wanted to look at, okay, it's a flash mob kind of background in terms of the business. So you go in, certain business, certain dates, certain group of people, invest a minimum of £10 in that business.
Precisely.
Regardless, wherever the business is in terms of the States, Europe, and over in the UK. Now, when you look at it and think, okay, it's a quick injection of money into a business, how does that make it sustainable for the business?
Okay, you've alluded to a very, very good question. I think our view is this. I don't necessarily just look at a business as just bricks and mortar. Businesses are run by people,
yes.
Who have families, who have up days and have down days. And the aim is to, number one, go into a business and just by supporting them, make them aware that, you know what, you have people that care. So once you create an atmosphere of care and of trust, then what you can now do is now build a relationship with that particular business.
Right.
So invariably what we do is that not only, support them financially, but again, if they want, we can support them in regards to promoting them on social media, or in other aspects of what we're trying to do, and really, really kind of try to follow as much as possible their journey. We have there's other elements to the Money Mob,
right.
Which I suppose we'll allude to maybe later on, which will help their business. So we don't just flash mob them and then just say, oh, bye bye, and go into the sunlight.
All right.
No,
because you tend to want to find out these things and think we have to start talking about sustainability as Black businesses.
Absolutely.
We need to start talking about legacy, not just sustainable business, but legacy
Precisely.
Businesses. And I think, the question that I have is, why are we still afraid to discuss money and wealth building in our community?
I think again, it's funny, again, I'm talking in reference to a conversation I had today. Entrepreneurship in regards to this particular generation and the generation after myself is actually quite new. People that are, my parents are from the quote unquote Windrush generation,
right.
who came over from the Caribbean or from the continent. When you are in the Caribbean, when you are on the continent, many of us are, we have a greater understanding in regards to economic, quite a few of us came over, and quite a few of our parents came over who were entrepreneurs back home. So they have a particular kind of mindset.
Right.
Whereas where our generation, we came into the school and the UK school system, and it was, again, as I said earlier, it was very much focused on, when you finish, you go and get a job, And where other communities who came over, many of them came over as business people, as entrepreneurs already. So already, they've come in with a mindset to then build business. So I think for our generation at the moment, it is something that we're now really kind of grabbing and taking off. And I think that we have to be patient with each other in that regard. But at the same time, we have to move quickly, because we have to create a situation that we're building legacy. Because if we don't, we're going to be in trouble.
I definitely agree. It's funny how something as simple as understanding what a legacy business is. The other day I walked into one of the corner shops in my neighborhood, and on the door, I go there quite often to, it's an Asian-owned corner store, and the sign said, "Our beloved father had passed away, blah, 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 blah." And, I go and I express my condolences because I know the man, and he's been always nothing but nice and pleasant with me. And the sons are in there, businesses continue, the business is still within the family. Precisely. The business is still growing. That's just one business. There's another corner store, same neighborhood. This corner store has never actually passed outside of the line of ownership. So what they do, and one of the, I got friendly with one of the ones who are of my age group, and he was getting ready to go to university at the same time. We were talking, and he was going to Redbrook University, paid for.
Russell Group.
Redbrook University paid for. And he explained to me how it worked, because they weren't the same family that owned it when I first, moved to that neighborhood. They go, no, what happens is when they have a family that comes over, they start working in the store. After a while, they buy out the other person. They start working. They have somebody come in. They put that person through the business, understand how the business works, and it cycles through. Cycles through. That's a legacy business. It's, since I've been there, it's cycled through. I think they're on the fourth cycle, and you just watch it, and people, would not take notice, but it's like, huh.
And that's the reality. When our parents came over, many of them had what is called the 5-year plan. So the 5-year plan meant that they would then build what they need to build, and then many of them would go back home.
Right.
They would then, what would happen is then they would have a house. And that house would probably have sometimes 10, 15, 20 people in that home. But then what would happen? Because they couldn't actually borrow money for a bank, what have you. They created their own banking system called the partner system.
Yep.
You see, and now the partner system now helped each one of them to now get a deposit for their property here, there, and everywhere. So now my generation is now many of us are now living the legacy of the fact that literally my parents had the vision to now invest in property. I know people literally where I live, and this is a family from the Caribbean. They have property. I mean, they've got roads of property.
Wow.
They actually own roads.
And let's just be clear. You see this partner system from the continent of Nigeria, where I'm from. It's called Isusu.
That's Susu. That's
it's
right.
called, they have other words for it, but I know it by Isusu.
That's right. So do I.
And you have people of my generation look at it and go, I don't want to get involved in that. I don't like things like that. And then you start understanding, fine, there people will be people. So there are some people who will go into something with not the best of intentions and spoil it for the rest of them.
Of course.
However, let's be clear. This system, we call it the partner system. We call it Isusu. I'm sure other places call it other things. Let's be clear. It's being utilized by city boys right now. But they don't call it what we call it. They cleaned it up, made it look real nice, and call it the rotational savings system.
Exactly.
And you're like, who now? What's that?
Exactly.
It's the rotational savings system.
Exactly.
And you don't want city boys to get involved in stuff. You know it must be good.
Exactly. And that's the reality. You know, this is something, okay, when people from Southeast Asia came from, it's the same type of system situation. And others have used and adopted a particular system. What happens is that if you have a plan that now includes legacy, then that's fine. But what's happened, there's been a disconnect because I believe, and it may be controversial, is that once you created a situation where now people are now looking at, introducing now affordable housing, because again, we became a property owning community. Yeah. But then you create another loophole where now people feel that they're going to get something, maybe, they feel maybe something for free, or not something which is going to be easier. Then you create a situation where eventually we're going down the road of dependency. And I think that that's something that, obviously, it depends on the situation, but we have to be very, very mindful, because down the road, we can come to a sticky end. If we are looking at legacy, even though you will have your ups and downs in regards to that, you have to there's no free lunch. Okay. You have to build with a mind that you're going to have your good time and your bad time, but eventually you're going to get to your destination. But not only that, you're going to flag post for your generation, your children, and your children's generation. Okay, so
we really need to take responsibility of how we're actually looking at money and the education we're leaving behind. Precisely. Because it's not just for us; it's actually for those ahead of us. Precisely. And we keep talking about this, and we keep talking about the fact that you threw out some big money numbers. Mm-hmm. 300 billion pounds is what we are worth to the United Kingdom economy. Mm-hmm. And our disposable income is 30 billion. Now, I'm going to ask this question. How can we actually stop, shift our state from being consumer focused to actually accumulators and investors? What would it take, in your estimation, as a business owner and someone who's doing this to actually, help business owners? How can we shift as a community, start shifting our mindset from our consumer desires to start accumulating and building actual lasting wealth?
I think whatever we do, it has to come with planning. When you have an area that is quote unquote so-called gentrified, this isn't because someone just suddenly thought about this is a nice area to go into. No, plans have been made 10 years ago to create a situation where now people are now going to be slightly moved out. They then create they create a situation that there's an area where these are pockets of disturbances per se. Mm-hmm. Then people start to move out of that area. Then what tends to happen, because this is a deliberate plan, then they create pockets where now they bring in the artisans, and it becomes now bohemian and arty and what have you. And then once that area now becomes kind of hip and happening, then the developers come in with a plan to gentrify an area. Right. That's what has to happen. You have to we have to now actively now look with a plan in regards to now what we in regards to legacy building. It may well be a situation where we look at an area, and this particular area is now an area that we're people are going to really kind of concentrate on now developing things. Or it may, and as I said, it's as small as, your home, then your road, then your area, and working now collectively with collective minds to how we can now, maybe target an area where we, can actually now build little oasis, and there are areas that, that can actually happen, and I think that they are, they are things that and also. What also needs to happen is that, as I said, we're going to have to go back to some basics, all right, people say that partners. No, I think there's still good things to come out of having a partner. I think things like credit unions are going to be very, very important because you need to create your own banking system where you can now get loans and be able to now help budding businesses, whether they're small, medium, or even micro businesses, to now grow collectively. Right. And I think that's going to be important. But I think one of the most important things is that we have to bring much more value to many of the things that at times we throw away. We got to bring much more value to ourselves. I think sometimes we do not value things until it is far too late, or we do not value and then until someone else comes, values that particular product, and then all of a sudden, we're talking about cultural appropriation and stuff like that. It's too late.
We get upset.
Exactly, we get upset, and now they're taking away our things, and no, we didn't value it enough. We didn't invest in it enough. We didn't actually put value on it. They saw an opportunity. They saw that this is something that's special. They invested in it, and now they're getting the fruits of their labor. You see, and that's something that obviously there's a lot of conversations in regards to why that's happening, but that's something that we now must do because. Lillian, we have much more influence than we actually think.
I absolutely agree.
You see, and that's the point. We have much more influence than we think. We have much more than we think, and if we just stood up and actually, smell the coffee, I'm telling you,
it would be a different ball
game. It would be a different ball game.
You see, one of the questions I have, and when we start talking about buy black-owned businesses, is that we're not saying buying black means people from other cultures cannot buy those products.
Exactly.
We're not saying other people cannot shop in our homes,
precisely,
in our
establishments,
or in our establishments, because that's not what we're saying.
Exactly.
But there's sometimes when we have to understand that when we talk about this, there's some people who are saying, "Oh no, it's just us," and I'm like, we can't survive in isolation. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. No system can work in isolation. Right. So, as a business owner, as someone who has the money mob, what is your stance to telling people about isolationism as opposed to economics from the ground up in your own neighborhood first, then reaching out?
I think you actually answered the question anyway. I think that first, you have to create a situation that now you are, centering around, trying to build economy for self. And then you can then move out. The reality of the situation is that we, like it or not, we are at the bottom of most matrices in regards to, being unemployed, unemployable, incidences, the list goes on, exclusions, crime, and what have you. And a lot of this is down to the fact that literally many our children, they don't see any hope in regards to their future. They're, in many cases, not all cases, but in many cases, and therefore they will drift into things. So I think that, again, trying to kind of help your own isn't something that is should be seen as something just, is dreadful, or it's, it's necessarily isolationist per se. It's about you now thinking about how how you build. Now, we did a money mob recently. We were in Green Street.
Right.
Now, Green Street is one of the largest shopping areas in this country. It is predominantly, I would say at least 70 to 80% of the businesses are owned within a particular community.
Right.
Right? Now, no one is saying that they're being isolationist. People come there, they shop. Many people from the Caribbean, they will shop on Green Street as well as, you see. And they're building, they're building a strong economy within their community. So that's something that I don't see as being a problem. I was in Soho recently. It's a very, very vibrant international community, but essentially the people in that area are from China or Southeast Asia. And again, it's internationally recognized. No one sees it as some dreadfully isolationist area that people, are just pushing people out per se. But and I have experience, it's a very distinctive Chinese area. You go into a Santander bank in Chinatown, the people in Santander are Chinese. And that is the reality. So I just think that, if that is happening, here and there and what have you, so why then is the problem when we say, well, this would be nice to be able to kind of build in that kind of way. We're not pushing no one out. We're just saying, in our wonderful economy, the people can come shop and what have you. But now you create a situation where now people now see a actual future in their economy. Their children see something that, okay, all right, there's a future. So I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I think we, by helping to build our own economy, actually will be benefiting the UK or GB economy much more, because now we're actually investing in our own and now building for ourselves, and now creating a situation that people now see a future, as opposed to having and creating a situation where we now have a generation increasingly thinking that there's no hope. You see.
And there's so many things that fuel that no hope feeling.
Absolutely.
I mean, for me, as much as I use social media, as much as I'm a big fan of social media, I feel that social media is also a problem, because it creates a lot of young people with the expectation of overnight success.
Exactly.
And so for them, the idea of even failing at something once is unforgivable in their book.
Exactly.
Because they're in this whole, overnight success theory.
Precisely.
Look at whatever social media platform, it's out there. These people that are touting this idea of, Insta fame. I call it the Insta fame group. But you've been in business for 25 years, and you've built various businesses, and in that, I'm sure that you've had situations where you've failed. How do you recover from failure?
Right. How do you recover from failure? I think that the mindset of someone who's gone through a failure is the fact that, okay, look, that is the situation. Yeah, it didn't work. You can't beat up yourself about it. And that, okay, there are certain factors that you looked at, certain factors you didn't consider, and then you got to pick yourself up. I mean, I'm a father. I've got to look after my child.
Yep.
So I can't just be wallowing in self-pity. I've got to then find, okay, where and how and what I need to do. So you dust yourself off, and then you look towards another area that you can now see a market. You can see clients client. You can see where you can go here and there, and then you get you get up again and you start again.
So basically, you fall, you take a moment, you gather yourself, and you move forward, and you start again.
Exactly.
You've heard it. I keep talking to a lot of incredible business owners, and we keep coming back to the same thing. Failure happens, and if you're not failing, you're not trying. If you're not trying, that's failure, not anything else, because you learn as we go on.
Precisely.
The same way you said you're a father. When your child started to walk, you didn't go, okay, yeah, you've tried this walking thing, you've fallen a couple of times. I don't think this walking thing is for you.
Exactly.
You cheered, you championed,
Exactly.
you celebrated. So why do we think we need to go, well, I tried a business once, twice, so I'm going to stop and lay down and cry?
I think that I think you touched on it earlier, that the fact that we we think, because we see TV, that it's okay, this one, this particular rap star, or this particular artist, or this particular businessman, he woke up one day and he was just wealthy and he was flying in jets and what have you. No, that's not the situation. And I always say to people who try to promote that, I said, to tell the truth, give the backstory.
Yeah.
Many of these people who are quote unquote are successful people now, they have been working for 10, 15 years, building, failing, and what's happened is that they've had a particular 15 minutes of success, and they have grabbed it. And now they're a superstar.
Of course. I mean, Jet Li was the first person that coined that phrase for me, because I think it was just after he'd done a few runs of movies, and he did Romeo Must Die. And he said, direct quote, that it took him 10 years to become an overnight success.
Exactly.
And what people didn't realize, that Jet Li had been building his craft, honing his craft, for a very long time. And, he had movies in his, home countries. He was working, producing, and doing a lot of things before he got those roles. And he said it took him over 10 years to become that overnight success that people assume. And so I think it's that thing we need to kind of get away from, that you have to fall flat on your face a couple of times. More than a couple of times to actually get to where you're going.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing. That does come with training. It comes with mentoring. It comes with, being, telling the truth and letting people understand it. Because, most millionaires, billionaires, or people who are on their way, they had to fall quite a few times, because in their falling they could tweak here, tweak there, and then cut the path. And then when they become really successful, that's because for that one success they had about 15, 20 failures. You see, and that's the reality. But all it takes is one success, and then that's it. The quote unquote rest is history,
So let's look at this, and we have loads more questions to go through, and I would love to talk to you some more about your business flash mob, and actually see one of the money mob sessions happen, because that I think is a really incredible thing to watch. Now, what is your personal mantra when it comes to building and growing wealth?
Building and growing wealth. I think. I take the adage that building wealth starts with you. You have to build a wealth mentality first. You have to be built. You have to have your mindset. Okay, this is I am going to be, and I am going to get there, and then plot a course. That to me, that's first and foremost, and you have to then protect the brand of building and guiding yourself towards building wealth. Then you have to then talk and partner and build a circle that now have like minds, and then plot a course, and then just step by step by step, crossing your I's, dotting your T's, making sure that you are, that you're very, very clear in regards to your finances, and that if you are building a business, that you are building a business, and a business in itself is about making money. Any business that is not centered around that is not a business, and you have to be very clear with that.
Exactly.
You see? You have to be clear in regards to the discipline of building your business per se, and that, because one thing about being self-employed is that if you don't get up in the morning and make it happen, you don't eat.
Don't work, don't eat.
And that is
that's the reality.
That is the reality. So the thing is about plotting a course and never giving up. Do not give up. Push it. A lot of the times, oh my goodness, some of the greatest success is when money was really, really tight. But then you push it, and then all of a sudden, I remember there was one time I was doing something, because there was in another incarnation I did promotions and marketing and what have you, and I was doing events and shows, and I remember doing a show in one of these big theaters, packed the show 3 times over and over, and this is after failing in another show in Birmingham a month before.
Right.
I mean, really failing. I must have lost about £2,000. 6 weeks later, I came to a meeting, and I literally plonked £6,000 cash on the table, profit based on that thing. So that's what I'm saying. If you push hard enough, you will succeed. You will get. You see.
All right, so you've heard it from Paul. Now, if you were just joining us, yes, we are going well over 9 o'clock. What can I tell you? You missed the fact that Paul and I were abducted on our way down here by aliens who just basically wanted to talk to us a bit. It happens, things happen, so we're still here and we're still live. And Paul, before we go on, let's talk about your so loud moment for the week. Actually, it's the first so loud moment for this season.
Okay.
What's your so loud moment?
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to my partners who've partnered us in regards to the Money Mob. One of my main business partners, I'm going to give a shout out, Barbara C. She is my networking guru. She brings a lot of the contacts to myself. We're like a tag team. She brings contacts to me, and then I am supposed to be the closer.
Right.
You see, so I got to give a big shout out to her. Got to give a big shout out to one of my other co-partners, and one of the people that helps me a lot in regards to what we're trying to do. We've got to give a shout out to Glennis. Big shout out to Glennis, who has a admin business called Admin Nanny. She literally is really, really serious in regards to like pushing and supporting business in regards to the administrative thing, because one of the things that kills businesses is lack of proper admin. So I've got to give a big shout out to my people, Glennis, Admin Nanny. Big shout out to Mars, MI Designs, and my graphics man who was instrumental in regards to creating that visual brand. So big shout out to my man Miles, and a shout out to Rachel Palmer. She's a broadcaster, also she does a lot of work with the Money Mob with regards to a lot of our podcasts as well. very, very gifted individual, and a real pleasure to have partnering with. So I think that's going to be my main shout out to my people, and really.
Wow, so that's a big sold out moment. So to all your team, a sold out moment to them, and we'll cheer them along with a big high five to them.
All right.
So, Paul, we're coming up, we're looking and thinking, the flash mob, the money mob, really going in and growing businesses and supporting businesses. Aside from that, what else? We forgot to mention the show. You actually have the Money Mob show. Oh, people, forgive me. I was going to get into this because, like I said, he's also a radio show host. So you have the Money Mob show, which is the same name as the business. Why did you start the show, and what's its focus?
Okay, the actual Money Mob show, which we call the Money Mob Economic Business Program, what I wanted is to have a show that would also focus on businesses that are not necessarily high street businesses.
Right.
Obviously, the main focus for the Money Mob generally are high street businesses that are out, that we can then go and focus on really directing our attention and our finances to. With the radio program, we wanted to really focus on, medium businesses, micro businesses, as well as service businesses, and be able to, give an insight in regards to what they do, as well as now give an insight into, what it's actually going to take to build business. So I'll have, I have various people that will come on the show, but also like last week I had the Money Mob accountant on the show. We've had people that will deal with health and well-being. We've had a vast variety of guests, big as well as small, that's come in and been a part of it. And it's a part of what we try to kind of do, as well as we supporting, our businesses on the high street. Again, we call it aftercare. So the aftercare is that, okay, if you want to be able to, if you want, we can shout you out and bring you in the studio, really bring attention to your business, advertise your business, and, and do the whole 9 yards, really.
Awesome. That's absolutely awesome. And so what's next? What are your future projects? Because you've gone from architecture to fashion to property to investing in property to now the Money Mob. What's next for you?
Okay, the Money Mob essentially is going to focus on really. Ideally, we're looking at focusing on finance. We are looking at things like how can we now create a funding circle to help businesses per se. So we're really kind of looking at that kind of aspect. We're looking at creating an incubator service that we can then bring people in, set them on, and then set them on their way.
Okay.
We are also we have a Money Mob loyalty card,
right.
So we are looking to really push out quite strongly at the beginning of the year, and I think thirdly, what we want to do is that we want to also create a situation that we are working to kind of create a situation where we now watch and follow supply chain. So we want to really, speak to those who are at the beginning and create a situation that we have a middle and an end product, i.e., where we can kind of guide it from literally from the beginning to the end, and really kind of see what we can do. Because what we have to do is we can't be dependent on other communities to feed, clothe and shelter us. We have to create a situation that we also have our hand in creating that environment where we know that the food that we're getting is food that we have picked distributed, and also we have outlets that we can actually go and go to market at, you know. And I think that that's going to be going to be very, very, very important, because I think that you know, being in someone else's kitchen has also put us in a lot of trouble health wise, because I think that we, you know, rely too much on products that, you know, as I said, we've got used to, but they haven't got any health benefits to. And I think that we got to really now, as I said, put our own destiny in our own hands, and that's something we're gonna really do. And then after that, outside of that, we're traveling.
Okay,
we're gonna make it international.
Awesome. So before I let you go, how can people find you?
How can people find me? Okay, if you are looking to follow what we're trying to do, we're on social media. You can get us on Money Mob 101, and we're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you want to WhatsApp us in regards to what we're doing, or follow us, or indeed you have a business and you want to be Money Mob, then you can WhatsApp us. Our number is 07737 080554. And for those who want to drop us a line, our email address is moneymobinfo@gmail.com. So yes, that's how you can get a hold of us.
Okay,
really.
Just for clarity, can we have that email address again, please?
Okay, if you want to give us drop us a line, we are at moneymobinfo@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. It's been my absolute pleasure having
Thank
you.
Thank you, Lilia. I'm glad to be behind this program.
And so, folks, we are at the tail end. We have had the incredible Paul Muhammed on the show, talking about the money mob and why it's imperative that we start building sustainable businesses within our communities, and why we need to shift from being consumers to business owners, and really take our next step and take ownership of what we do and how we do it. So join us again this time next week. Well, actually 8 o'clock, not this time. Same time, same place, for our next incredible guest, and we'll be seeing you next week. Thank you all for being on the show. Bye.
Bye.
What's going on? If you're enjoying today's show, don't forget to check out our website at www.shineoutloud.tv. And we'd definitely appreciate it if you subscribe to the show and leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes too. Thank you.